Number 10, read the question more than once. I find it amazing how often students just quickly read a question thinking they know what the question's all about and really don't take the time to really understand the question. So read the question more than once. Can you understand it? Can you visualize it? Do you know what the examiner is looking for? And don't brain dump. Make sure you answer the question. Number 9, take note of the key words used in the question. If the question is well written, then key terms, those things that you learnt, will be mentioned. Where necessary, define them and make sure you use them in the answer. Highlight them if it helps you, but don't paraphrase the question. That only takes up valuable time and actually shows that you don't know how to answer the question. Number 8, take note of the amount of space given. When an examination question is written, they provide you enough space to answer the question comprehensively. So don't write too little. A one-word answer for 10 lines of space is not enough. Secondly, if 2 lines are given, clearly not an essay is required. So make sure you write succinctly and clearly and take note of how much space is given. Number 7, take note of the amount of marks. Usually the number of marks tells you a little bit what the depth that is required. But don't fall into the trap thinking that an 8-mark question means 8 points needed. Number 6, don't think you have to do sequentially. Don't know an answer to a question? Don't waste time, move on. Maybe later, as you attempt another question, you'll find the inspiration to help you answer the question that you missed. Number 5, take note of plurals. If a word in a question is plural, then that's important. Take, for example, the effects on society and environment. The response will likely require more than one effect because the word is plural, effects, for both society and environment. So highlight them if necessary. Number 4, set out your mathematical problems and don't forget units. You'll find that many mathematical problems are worth more than just a single mark, and there's a reason. So don't just calculate the answers on a calculator and then write the answer down. There are 2 reasons. Number 1, you're less likely to make errors if you set out the question. Number 2, if you make a mistake somewhere along the line, chances are you may get some marks for showing a good understanding of process. And really important, if units are required, put them in, and significant figures where necessary. Number 3, take note of the verb used. Questions usually start with a verb, such as identify, or describe, or explain, or assess, or justify, just to name a few. Do you know what each means? It's really important that you do. Take, for example, the question, describe what happens to the car as it hits the wall. Your answer here will simply state something to the effect that it slows down very quickly or it accelerates in the opposite direction. But if I now modify the question, such as explain what happens to the car as it hits the wall, then my response will be much longer. Since the word means to show cause and effect, then in this case I'd have to talk about forces. So make sure you know the verbs and make sure you use them correctly. Take note of the verb used. Number 2, plan your long response questions. You get to a long response question and you think you need to start writing immediately. Actually, the best thing to do is spend a minute or 2 thinking how you would structure your response. What is its intro? What is the body? What's the conclusion? You may think you'll be wasting time, but in fact, by thinking through how you might construct your question actually will save you time and you're less likely to do a brain dump where you write down everything you know about the topic without actually answering it. So take the time to spend a minute or 2 planning and your answer will be much more succinct and much more cohesive as a result. Number 1, don't leave blank responses. You've not studied enough. You may get to the end of the exam and say, this question's too tough, and end up just saying, stuff it, why bother? Don't. Exam questions are not written to stuff you up. So if there's something you do know about the topic, write it down. Chances are, for an 8-mark question, you might get 1 or 2 marks by simply mentioning something that you've learned. So don't leave blank